Hello and welcome. In the summer of 2011, British archaeologists excavated the tunnel used in the Great Escape of Allied prisoners in World War II from Stalag Luft III in western Poland. The 100-metre long underground passage, nicknamed Harry, had been sealed by the Germans after 76 prisoners managed to escape through it on the nights of the 24th of March 1944. A total of 600 prisoners were involved in some way in the construction of 3 tunnels. A planned 200 prisoners, many in fake German uniforms and civilian outfits and carrying false identity papers, were planned to escape. Evidence in the tunnel included bedboards joined together to stop collapse and a ventilation shaft crafted from using powdered milk containers. Scattered throughout the tunnel, which is 30 feet below ground, were bits of old metal buckets, hammers and crowbars which had been used to hollow out the route. 90 boards from bunk beds, 62 tables, 34 chairs, 76 benches, knives, spoons, forks, towels and blankets were squirreled away under the noses of the German guards. Only 3 prisoners of war made it back to Britain. 50 captured prisoners of war were executed by firing squad. The tunnel remained undisturbed over the decades because it was behind the Iron Curtain and the Soviets had no interest in its significance. It is considered the duty of captured airmen to contemplate and carry out escape from captivity. This ties up the enemy in guarding and recapture. There had been a change in attitude to prisoners between the 2 world wars. In World War I, being taken prisoner was regarded as a disgrace. By the outbreak of World War II, policy regarding prisoners had become more constructive. In December 1939, Military Intelligence, Section 9, the branch of the Secret Service responsible for escape and evasion, was set up. One man, who was behind many of Section 9's most ingenious plans, was Clayton-Hutton. He was a forceful character who worked to overcome technical and bureaucratic obstacles when he was inspired by an idea. He was responsible for an enormous variety of escape aids, such as flying boots and uniforms that could be converted easily to look like civilian dress, powerful torches concealed inside bicycle pumps for use by the French resistance. He regarded a map as the escaper's most important accessory, and maps printed on silk and miniature compasses were amongst his first projects. It was relatively easy to provide air crew with escape kits in case of being shot down. Not so easy to get these things once you have been captured and are in a prisoner of war camp. It was here that the British printing firm of John Waddington Limited was particularly helpful. Prisoners of war were allowed to receive parcels from their families and from relief organisations such as the Red Cross. Personal deliveries were checked thoroughly by the guards, but it was felt unethical to interfere with Red Cross parcels. A number of fictitious charitable organisations were created to send parcels of games, warm clothing and other small comforts to the prisoners. One of the major problems of captivity was boredom. Games and entertainments were permitted as the guards recognised that if the prisoners were allowed some diversions, they would be less troublesome. One of the most helpful aids smuggled into prisoners was a useful and accurate map, one showing where to avoid, train routes, and showing the locations of safe houses where a prisoner of war could go for food and shelter. Paper maps had some real drawbacks, as they make a lot of noise when opened out and folded, wear out rapidly, and are ruined if wet. Contrast this with maps printed on silk, which are durable, can be scrunched up into tiny wads and unfolded as many times as needed, and make no noise. The maps were small scale, covering large areas, and copied from maps then available from Bartholomew's. Bartholomew's waived all royalties for the privilege of helping the war effort. Good on them. At that time, there was only one manufacturer in Great Britain that had perfected the technology of printing on silk, and that was John Waddington Limited. When approached by the government, the firm was only too happy to do its bit for the war effort. By pure coincidence, Waddington was also the UK licensee for the popular American board game Monopoly. As it happened, games and pastimes was a category of item qualified for insertion into care packages dispatched by the International Red Cross to prisoners of war. Under the strictest of security, in a securely guarded and inaccessible old workshop on the grounds of Waddington's, a group of sworn to secrecy employees began mass producing escape maps keyed to each region of Germany, Italy and France, or wherever Allied prisoner of war camps were located. When processed, these maps could be folded into such tiny dots that they would actually fit inside a Monopoly playing piece. The clever workmen at Waddington's also managed to add a playing token containing a small magnetic compass, a two-part metal file that could easily be screwed together, and useful amounts of genuine high-denomination German, Italian and French currency hidden within the piles of Monopoly money. British and American aircrews were advised before taking off on their first mission how to identify a rigged Monopoly set by means of a tiny red dot, cleverly rigged to look like an ordinary printing glitch located in the corner of the free parking square. Of the estimated 35,000 Allied prisoners of war who successfully escaped, roughly one-third were aided in their flight by the rigged Monopoly sets. Everyone who did so was sworn to secrecy indefinitely, since the British government might want to use this highly successful ruse in still another future war. The story wasn't declassified until 2007, when the surviving craftsmen from Waddington's, as well as the firm itself, were finally honoured in a public ceremony. It's always nice when you can play that get out of jail free card. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe to promote further stories.